Hey everybody, welcome back to my July bench update from a very hot and humid central Virginia here. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, it's like 96 degrees outside I think already. It's terrible. Luckily got the AC running in here, but outside it's horrible. So yeah, in the summer, full swing of summer, so obviously modeling stuff slows down and I'm no exception. Got other activities going on, working on my motorcycle, modifying, customizing that, doing ride vlogs and that kind of thing. And just enjoying the outside, enjoying the summer, basically. That being said, if you another channel I spun off, Ride and Wander, that's where my I kind of want to separate my channels from this one. This is a modeling channel, so that channel focuses on my motorcycling, my motor vlogging, my world travel. Like I said, I was in Vietnam and Tokyo Christmas, and might be going to Vietnam again in a couple of weeks. We'll see how I feel. So that's all going on that channel. So if you want to head across that one, welcome to the modeling stage on this one, and that no different. Where to start? Firstly, a public service announcement. Talking about heat. So resin. I came in here a couple of weeks ago to find my Thai bomber had melted. So there we go. I do have a mini split in here, and I do want to run it 24 hours a day, obviously for save some electricity. Because this room's so small, it cools in like 5-10 minutes. So I've just been typically throwing it on. I've used my app, just turn it on 5 minutes before I come out here, and it's good to go. So that being said, even though it's insulated, it still gets hot in here. And with the temperatures in the hundreds recently, it got to like 90 in here some days, and I guess that was just too much. So I walked in, found like some of my resin stuff, pools of resin, and the first thing was look straight up top of my bookcase to my 32nd scale resin Jetman's Vegan, my limited edition one I built, and that's absolutely perfect. All my plastic models are perfect, just those couple of resin pieces melted. So I'm gonna do a little clip right now, and you can kind of see the carnage, and there we go. So I'm not sure if it just wasn't cured properly, or it's just what the deal was, or it's type of resin I was using. But if you have a resin printer and you have an outdoors like I do, just watch the temperature. Now I do have for the app with my mini split like an app, and I can like program a temperature. But what I found was it's not like the house where it gets the temperature and then shuts off. It just kept running. Like the fan just kept running all the time. So I couldn't figure it all out. So I kind of came around with a secondary solution where basically the thermometer is linked to my house like home network. So when it gets 85 in here, it triggers alert on my phone. And I know just to go on the app and just switch on the AC for an hour, just keep it cool, like an hour or two a day. So again, I don't want to keep the thing running 24 hours a day. My electric bill will be out of control. So that's my service announcement. So luckily my models are fine. That the plastic stuff's fine. But that Thai bomber for whatever reason, and Jessica Rabbit, and the engine of a 32nd scale Star Wars wiring I started printing a while back too, that kind of melted too. So there we go. Not sure there's that reason, but again, that's my service announcement. So I haven't been out here much, to be honest with you, and won't be out much for the summer. So as you know, I got the COVID on the way back from the Dominican Republic about 5-6 weeks ago now, sick for a couple of weeks, and then had that dry cough and the headaches, migraines. The cough dropped luckily after about a week or two. Still have the headaches, and it just really gets worse when I come in here. So I'm not sure if it's the pressure in here, or it's the smell of the paints or the glues or what it is, but it sets me off. So I can't spend much time out here without getting like migraines for the rest of the day. So I've been avoiding modeling for like last week or two, and that'll probably continue throughout the summer. So if you don't see much content, that's the reason why, to be honest with you. In the house, I'm okay, but again, out here, it's just, it just sets me off ever since the COVID. And I did get a HEPA filter fan thing from Amazon. That's been running for like a few days now, and just purifies the air. But still, as soon as I walk in here, my head just feels it. So there we go. It's not great. So I mean, limited in time. So I did, earlier in the month, since we last spoke, I did finish the Magic Factory Bradley. That is a really good kit. Went together so well. If you like armor, I highly recommend it. I think I paid like $35 for it. I got it for a really good price. I got the American version. They also did the Ukrainian, I was going to say Israeli, the Ukrainian version, and that one's a little bit more expensive, but I think you get a metal barrel. Not sure, check on that one. And definitely get some 3D printed parts, like the basket at the back, and some other parts are 3D printed in that one. But American one, as always, I put a video out. As I mentioned earlier, it's height of summer, it's very hot, very humid, and it's hard to find shade, so the video's gonna be a little bit overexposed in the sun, but you get the idea. And there we go. So it turned out great in terms of actually building it. I lost the mojo, as always, with armor. I mean, I do these projects, anything not aircraft, I just lose interest in it, to be honest with you. And that was the case. Many hours of work building it. It took a lot of hours. On my Patreon channel, one of my weekly update on my Patreon, I talked about it on there. I can't remember the exact hours, but it was a lot to get that thing put together. And but it was enjoyable. And then got to the painting stage, and the free-tone camo and the deserty kind of blocks around the side. That went down okay. I think I had maybe some metallic flakes in my paintbrush because the brown and the camo has some like some little speckles and stuff in it. I couldn't be bothered to repaint it, to be honest with you. So it is what it is. And I just real quick like pin wash with some Abtalon oil. Just that was it. Now I know the beauty of armor really is to weather it, and that's when it really comes into its life. But I kind of lost interest, to be honest with you, when we move on to my next project. So built it, got it painted, basic weathering, and it's done on the shelf. But yeah, great kit. If you do like armor, highly recommend it. The tracks weren't so bad. Length and length, whatever you want to call them. And the key really was leave the side stuff off, get the tracks in, paint behind it, get the tracks in painted, then put the side skirt on, then mask it and paint around it. And that seemed to work pretty good for me. As always, I think I need to add like an extra link or two to each side just so I get it on. But yeah, it wasn't so bad. But yeah, that one's done. So finished the Bradley and then moved on to another aircraft. So we know we're doing the Prowler video build series, which finished a few months ago on Patreon. It's now filtering through on YouTube. So you'll get the Prowler every 2 or 3 weeks on a Friday. I'll put up the video next part. I think there's 6 parts total. That turned out really nicely. There's some trials and tribulations with the decals again on that one, but you'll see through the build series. But ultimately, it turned out really nice, and I'm happy with that one. One of my favorite aircraft. So you got the Prowler, and then I started the Intruder, the Trumpeter semi-second scale Intruder, A-6E. Now, if anybody wants to do me a favor here, if you're in the US and you can mail me some decals, I'll be greatly appreciated. So if you're doing a box art version, this one, could I please have your spare decals for this one, the white one, which I'm building? 2 or 3 of those folded over themselves. I couldn't repair them, so I need some decals. I reached out to Trumpeter, Joanna. As always, she got back to me in like 12 hours. Don't have any in the factory, so it makes me think they don't have any spares. Is it maybe an issue with these decals? So I don't really have a problem with Trumpeter and Hobby Boss decals. They normally go down really well. These are very thin, and they were just really hard to work with, and they just kind of fold over themselves, and they were tricky. So I lost 2 or 3 of the numbers and stuff. So again, if you do have this kit 01641, and you want to build the box art, please help. Yeah, shoot me a message, and I'll pay for your postage or send you some stickers or something in return. So I get that build finished. So I got it painted, as you know. Obviously, I got the decals on, and now we're stored. So this project, so I get some decals. I don't want to repaint it for a different scheme. I just want to get some replacement decals for this one. But yeah, so this kit, I can talk about it. Obviously, video build series for this one too. We'll go on Patreon first, and then later in the year I'll put it onto YouTube. Trying to think now. It's been a couple of weeks. It went together okay, actually. So I'm trying to think. So some YouTube build videos complaining about the front and the intakes and stuff. I had 0 issues with that. It went together fine. You have to, again, with modeling, you don't just follow the instructions. You do it in a certain order. And like chest, you think a step ahead. And if you follow my build videos on this one, you'll see how I did the front end, how I did the intakes, putting them onto the each side of the fuselage first before I put the fuselage together. And I talk about it in my build video, but basically, if you do that, you'll be fine. The only issue really I encountered was the wings. Now, if you have them folded, you don't have a problem, like folded up. Every time I do that, I regret it because I kind of like to see the lines of the aircraft. So I like to have them down. So I did wings down, and then the attachment point between the outer part of the wing and the inner part of the wing is just a tiny bit of plastic. It's just floppy. So again, you've seen the build video. What I did was I drilled 3 holes and put some plastic hard in there, three strips of plastic rod, and just supported that wing on each wing. It was like a 10-minute job, and then now the wings are actually glued together and sturdy. The 2 parts Again, if you have it folded, you don't have an issue, but otherwise it's just going to be flop around. It doesn't secure it. So the kit's really built for have your wings folded. But again, if you follow the build videos, you'll see how I did it and put some structure in there so the wings are down and in a good position. Another thing was the mask set. So you get a free mask set, which is really nice for a $33 kit. Weird material. It's kind of like a thick kabui tape, but had like no like stretch to it. So normally, with like if I print out my own mask, the Oracle or the Edward mask, sometimes there's a little bit of stretch to it, so you can just get it in that right position. This had no wiggle room, and also it just plain didn't fit the back one. Now I'm not sure if I double and triple checked. I followed the instructions. I make sure I had the right side and that kind of stuff, but it just didn't fit. Mine didn't fit at all. So again, you'll see in the video I had to cut it up and like backfill it with some yellow Tamiya tape and stuff. So you did at least get one mask set to work with. The front ones actually fit really well. Just the back ones, for whatever reason, didn't fit for me. It was strange. And in hindsight, I should have just peeled them off, scanned in the piece of paper, the backing paper, and just print my own mask out on my Cricut machine here in Oracle, which would have been much better probably to use. But yeah, that's a weird one. I'm not sure about that. And another thing is, you give you a mask for the window, but then you got the black part in the front on both of these schemes. Now you think they'd at least give you the mask for the black as well. I mean, same piece of paper, it wouldn't cost them any extra. Instead, you have to like mask it yourself, which is kind of a pain. Took me 2 or 3 attempts with some bleed issues and stuff, but I got there in the end. I'm not going to show you this one again because I'm working on it in progress as a build video series, so you'll see it when it goes up live on YouTube. A lot of people ask. Thank you for the good feedback about the build videos recently, both the the Marauder and the Prowler. Appreciate the kind words. It's not like I'm going to do these every time. It's a lot of work. Like I mentioned a year ago, if I get the inkling, I'll maybe do 1 a year or something. I'm not also doing 2 now, 2 build series a year. But it quadruples the build time. So if it takes 40 hours to build a model kit, now it's taking me 120 hours. 150 hours with editing and filming, that kind of stuff. Plus, I got to be conscious of what I'm doing in certain orders if I'm filming. Whereas if I'm just building for myself enjoyment, I can build sub-assemblies however I want, and it's a lot easier process for me and more enjoyable. So it got a little stale too, because obviously its techniques are pretty similar for each kit. And when I get comments like, I don't know if I remember, I'll put one up, like these kind of comments, it doesn't really inspire me to do it. I get trolls and negativity and people being jackasses. Basically, it's like, well, what's the point? Why would I sit out here late at night editing videos, put on YouTube when I could just be in the house, like doing other stuff, enjoying other hobbies, right? So I know, again, it's a minority, but it just kills it. Then it kills the mojo. So that's the reason why, I don't do these every week anymore like I used to. I think I went for a run for like 5 years where every Friday I did like 30 build videos in a row, and that's not happening again, I tell you that. So yeah, there we go. So no purchases this month. I did order Andy Hobby Headquarters, or the Tacom new M113, the armed personnel carrier. That's out in September, 16th scale. I don't know about, again, talking about armor, I always think like the subject, but as soon as I start, I lose interest. So it's not cheap. It's over $100. So I might cancel that pre-order. We'll see how I feel closer to the time as we go for the summer. But yeah, it's really quiet right now. As you saw my video a couple of weeks ago, the new releases, there's nothing really happening. Very quiet. It's been probably for the last 3 years now modeling, it's been very quiet in terms of releases. I'm not sure, if we just kind of got to a stage where everything's being released or there's no new subjects or what the deal is. Trumpeter, Hobby Boss used to release tons every month, almost a new 32nd scale kit every single month. Now they barely have anything come out. It's very quiet. And then also Trumpeter used to be cheap, now like super expensive, like tripled in price the last few years as well. So yeah, very limited new releases coming out. So in terms of purchases, it's pretty stifled. Not that many catching my eye. Hopefully once we get to fall, I think as always, it should hopefully pick up and get more releases. There's some obviously new manufacturers on the market, like Magic Factory. Hopefully they're bringing stuff out, new subjects, get things moving, but it's getting pretty stale, which is a little bit of concern with the hobby, because yeah, lack of new releases and stuff. We seem to have lots of new paint lines and stuff coming out. There are some great kits, don't get me wrong, but plenty of subjects, but not the releases we had like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. But again, maybe we're just getting oversaturated in the market, and also we have 3D printing now as well, so A lot of people are 3D printing stuff, and hopefully it doesn't melt for you. So there we go. So yeah, you won't probably see much from me for the rest of the summer. I'm out do some more traveling. I'm due to go back to Vietnam in about 2 weeks. I'm not sure if I'm going or not. I might change my plan to do something else, but we'll see. So yeah, in the height of summer, enjoy the summer, everybody. I know not much modeling's coming on, and as we get back in the fall, we'll start to pick things up a little bit more. So yeah, have a good one. Catch you later. Bye.